Good morning, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2. Hope everyone's doing well this morning. This is March 5th, 2022. And hope you guys are going to have a great day. I hope you guys had a great day yesterday. Every day is a great day. I think certainly as you look at your journey, your journey is one day at a time. And you gotta just take it like it is and kind of work with it. I think there's a lot of mysteries and things that we're beginning to unravel more and more as time goes on. And those type of things will help you in your journey become the best person you become. And the bottom line is you want to be the most effective, most healthy person, and the most prosperous, depending on what success is for you, that you can be. And so this is all a great adventure that we're on, and we continue doing that and never give up that adventure. And all these temptations and things that we get, they can affect us, but they can't stop you, and they shouldn't stop you. Keep moving forward no matter what the situation is, and you kind of go from there. All right, so thanks again for the subscriptions, comments, likes. Everything is all very positive and good. It's all very welcomed, and I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I appreciate the comments. I do that kind of thing too. I did want to see, I am trying to see if I could try to find some time. Maybe I'll do it one of these breaks I have with my teaching and everything, that I'll be able to kind of figure out how to do more with like a chat. I think I'm going to try one of those. I'm getting a couple of requests to do that, and I'll probably go ahead and try to do that. So for those who are reaching out to me to try to maybe have discussions, we can do actually a chat online at some point here, and I'll try to figure that out pretty soon so we can kind of talk about some issues that you guys are interested in talking about, and I can probably kind of directly talk with you more that way too. So we'll try that. I'm not very good at technology, so I'm just kind of getting used to a lot of this stuff, so I'm kind of taking it really slow, but hopefully be able to kind of get out there and talk more about certain things, and try to provide information and help each other out as much as possible. So today, let's talk about a little bit of extension of what I was talking about yesterday. But here's the one that I think catches people a lot first. Now, we talked about the senses and the 5 senses focusing on things, and it is difficult. I'm at 195 days, I think, on monk mode, and you're getting, I think, close to 680 or whatever it might be. I can't remember what it was on the other one. I just checked it this morning, but I didn't really check the NoFap one. But the monk mode is near 200 now, and so when you get a longer journey, and I'm finding this out too, it is a little more difficult to try to discern those type of things that can get you in trouble. And that's one of the ones we need to kind of talk about a little bit today. I think trying to discern the good and bad is a difficult type of thing to do, especially as you get more set in your ways, and you get 200 days. Now you're starting to get into, in monk mode, you're trying to, almost 700 days with NoFap. You're talking about really kind of trying to discern those things that can kind of trip you up, and you have to kind of watch those. And so these 5 senses we talked about yesterday is where temptation can come through, and you want to kind of watch those type of things and just have an idea of this and be aware of these things can trip you up. The one I want to kind of focus on, we talked about sight, your eyes, your sight, which is the one I want to focus on today. But then we talk about touch and smell, and all these type of things are part of what you focus on. Now, touch can certainly be a strong tempter, right? There's no doubt about it. But the number one, and we talk about this just in psychology, communication research, but we also talk about this when it comes to the Bible, is really the emotions and everything you have really a lot of it comes through your eyes. And so what our eyes see starts our process going. And this is kind of the key to it. The eyes really are the tempter of the world. And I guess maybe that's the way I'm going to put this one. Your eyes are a tempter of the world. If you can control the eyes in a sense. Now, there's things you're not going to be able to control, granted. Things that come at you and kind of hit you at the last minute, you're not seeing it. And, you can't always control everything that comes within your range of vision. But you can respond to it once you see it. And you can avoid trying to get too much into this, too much into it. And you want to kind of go ahead and avoid this type of thing and going into it this way. So, all right. So as you look at this, I think the key is to try to figure out how you're going to look at focusing on the eyes. And the key thing that focuses on this and trying to look to see if it can be something that you can control or not control. And so when you see things in front of you, you have to go ahead and say, okay, what is it do I really want to control? And can I go ahead and control this and see it in a way in which it makes a big difference in the way I look at things? And so this is where the eyes become a crucial type of factor. You want to be able to see something in front of you and be able to react to it in a way where it's not going to bother you. Now, once again, temptation's in front of you all the time. And what you have to realize is that a lot of things you're seeing is an illusion. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, all you got to do is kind of look at some, and I used to teach and study film history and all those type of things. I love movies and things years ago, and I did a lot of that type of stuff to focus on those things that really kind of we see in the media. And this is way back before the internet and those things that came along. And what you notice is that, for instance, like film, when you put a film together, the film itself is only a bunch of different pictures. And in the old days, you used to have the film to be able to put a couple of pictures together. And now what you're doing is kind of running them straight through. And as you run them straight through, now you're focusing on movement. The movement only happens when you're kind of moving those things straight through. And so the movement only occurs when you're trying to kind of put the pictures together. And so as we do this, then the key is going to be is looking at the film and saying, okay, all those things put together make the movement that we see. So it's really kind of an illusion, even though what you're picturing is something that's is a real event. It's not something in real time. Even the reality TV shows, we know that they're going to be on TV. We know there's going to be a certain amount of staging going on. We know the people, even though they look good, they're going to be heightened up by makeup, Photoshop, all kinds of different types of things. So we know that people are not going to put a bad thing, because the basic line is that people want to have a good image. And they want to come off as being a good image, especially if they're attractive. They know they can make money because they realize that one of the things that sells things, is sexy types of photos, right? Sexy types of things. This is why OnlyFans makes all the money it does. And once again, that goes back to the eyes, right? And when men especially pay all kinds of money to see this type of stuff, they're looking at the eyes. See, men and women are basically very different when it comes to looking at things. Women, even though you may see some exceptions to the rule here, most times women, they notice the attractiveness of men, but that is not such a huge kind of requirement that women play as much as men. It only goes back to the old types of models where, you're talking about females have a very strong nurturing, and they're more interested in the nurturing aspect of men and things like that than they are really of the attractiveness type of it. And while like males, because their focus is on basically procreation, even though they may not say that, they're looking at trying to find attractive females. And so this is why this is a glamorous type of thing, and why makeup is so popular, and why there's tons of money and all this type of stuff of imagery, because there's a lot of attraction going on there between males and females. And males are very much like a person watching. And it's a very interesting type of thing. I remember a person who was developed one of the early magazines that people enjoyed back in the 60s and the 50s and those type of things. And when you look at this, those type of things, focusing really on, looking at pictures. They always said something like, that men are really more interested in, looking at things, and women are more interested in more acting things out. And so I thought this was a very interesting type of quote, and it kind of focuses on the popularity we have when it comes to these OnlyFans, magazines, things like that. Men tend to be very much into the watching of things because it stimulates their thoughts, it stimulates their ideas, and what ends up happening is it then affects their eventual behavior, right? But it all starts with the eyes. And if you can control the eyes, if you're able to go ahead and start saying, okay, I'm not going to go ahead and watch this, I'm not going to go ahead and partake into this adventure and seeing this stuff, well, then you've actually started controlling yourself. And we look at self-control, the idea really is to be able to control your behaviors, control who you are, and you control then the life around you. But the key to a lot of that is to control the eyes. And a lot of times the eyes will sneak up on you, and all of a sudden you're seeing something, and now you're entranced with this. Sometimes you're hypnotized by it, mesmerized by it. There's a lot of things you can do to actually be affected by it. So a lot of the key, my friends, is saying, okay, how do I control the eyes? Okay? I mean, the eyes are really the temptation to the world, and you have to be aware of that and be cognizant of that fact. And so as you look at this, I think the key thing is to kind of look at the idea of how do I really able to control my eyes? Well, first of all, you have to continue to keep your goals in mind. Keep the fact that you're on a journey, and one of the things you're trying to do is to try to continue to stay on your goals, stay on your mission, and so your mind will naturally refocus itself on those goals and ideas if you get yourself in trouble and you're seeing something that you shouldn't. Okay? And you're not going to notice, for instance, you're going to notice beautiful people, you're going to notice these type of things, but you're not going to put yourself in a position in which you're now focusing, looking at this thing, continuing to focus on it. Because the more that happens, the more those signals comes from the eyes and goes into the brain, and now you're looking at actually contemplating thoughts and those type of things, and that can lead to a lot of behaviors in the long run. And so what you really have to do is kind of tell yourself, and this is what I think the Bible and other types of books have talked about when it comes to fleeing from temptation. You do not want to allow your eyes to catch something. It's almost like the birds on top of your head again. You can't go ahead and get people to focus on something without thinking about it very deeply and then kind of moving on it. So even if you see a picture, even if you do something where you're seeing something around you, you can kind of handle that type of situation much better because you know you're moving ahead and moving forward into the journey that you're taking. So that's why I say that a lot of things that you see outside is not really real. It's almost like the old saying that what glitters is not gold, always gold. Because the whole thing is that if something looks good, it's probably made up that way, and you have to be very aware of it. Now, you may still want to accept it, those type of things, but always be aware that whatever the eye sees, the eyes are going to kind of transfer into some sort of eventual behavior. And this is why when you look at people who get involved in a lot of these behaviors, they basically start by watching pictures and watching images. And they think it's no big deal, but then it becomes more and more extreme, and all of a sudden now you're looking for actual things to do to kind of satisfy that same lust that you have. And this is where it starts. It starts with the eyes, in my opinion at least. And I think when you look at these type of things that we talk about, the eyes really are a key to the temptation. So as you look at this situation, I think once again, you have to kind of go back to how you can kind of control this. And I know we've had a lot of people talk about controlling and trying to make sure that you don't fall back off track and things like that. Well, the biggest thing you can do is to be mindful of the eyes, be mindful of the eyes as you look at this and kind of say, okay, the eyes have a lot of power that I'm not aware of. And your eyes do. Your eyes do have a lot of power you're not really aware of. And the thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and say, okay, how can I control these situations using my eyes? And a big part of it starts within your mind too. If you can actually keep focused on the things you're doing, and you keep focused on the goals you have and the focus on the things you're trying to do, then when you get in these situations, even if you see something that you don't necessarily want to see, you're not going to react to it in a negative way by looking at it, leering at it, all these type of things. You're going to go ahead and kind of refocus back on a goal that you have. And I think this is really important to kind of focus on and look at. And I think this is something that we need to do on a regular basis. And I think if you get in a habit of doing that, you're going to be much better off. And I think that's a big key to the situation. So again, I'm not sure if I want to focus on each one of these senses that we talked about yesterday, but I do want to kind of focus on a couple of them, because I do think when it comes to these type of senses, the temptation comes in is all about the senses. Obviously, pleasure comes from the senses, and so when you see something that looks beautiful, that's a sense. When you touch something that looks beautiful, you smell a good perfume, those type of things. All those things have an impact on you, and then of course your future behavior. And you have to kind of really look and see, okay, how can I judge this? How can I get around this? How can I adapt to the situation so it's not hurting me in the long run? And a lot of it goes back to the fact that you want to flee from temptation, which really means that you have to kind of get your mind off of it, get your eyes off of it, and look at something else, focus on something else, and keep your mind away. Because once the eye sees something, then the mind kicks into gear again, and now you're reinforcing that thought. Now, once again, there's a state of law of attraction which plays into this as well. And if you start thinking about something, you're eventually going to see it, and that's going to reinforce it. But in your mind, you're also using what I call vision. You might have dreams of things. I have to continue to fight myself, dreams of things at night, of releasing all kinds of stuff like that. And those sometimes happens, depending on the food you have, depending on the evil one, everything that deals with those things, you have to kind of look at and say, okay, this is something that is affecting me. I need to control this. And I think you do that by looking at yourself and saying, okay, what is my final goal? Where am I trying to get at? And, how am I trying to do this within the plan that I have? So, all right, my friends. Well, I hope you guys have a great day. This is a little bit longer one, but I want to kind of focus on this one because the eyes are a lot more powerful than we think they are. And I think certainly we've done a few on the eyes before, but I wanted to kind of go back and do some more on talking about the eyes, because I think it's an important one to kind of look at, and it can really kind of make or break the deal for you. If you're able to kind of control what you're looking at, and even if you see something you don't want to see, eventually change that, I think you got a better shot to be able to control this behavior and not get yourself tempted by the evil one in many different things you're focusing on. So, all right, my friends, have a great day today. God bless you guys, and battle on. March 5th, 2022.